Blog Talk Radio. Today is Saturday, October 28th, 2017, and this is Foxology. I am Silver Ray Fox, your host. Happy Saturday, everyone, and thank you for taking a few minutes to check out today's show. It's going to be good. I hope and pray that your day, your weekend is going simply marvelous. Well, I do believe, as I said, that I have a pretty marvelous show planned for you. As you already know, everybody has a story. We can see the faces of life and business and work and success as we scroll through our social media, and we may marvel at some of the amazing things that we see people doing from day to day, their highlights, their special moments, their visions of victory, their accolades, and their acclaim. But something we don't always see or hear about are their lowlights, their backstory, the things that have gone on in the backdrop of life, the things in their past that may have caused them to reach front and center stage as we know it now, the things that have happened that caused them to have a life-changing paradigm, a new and different perspective and positioning in life. My guest today has a very powerful story of how traumatic injury transformed his way of life and his way of thinking about life. He is Terry Smith. He's a successful author, playwright, producer, and radio host of Surviving Head Trauma. And he has a very interesting journey that he's going to share with us today. He has been really around about life, doing very many things, and I'm excited to share that with you. He is also formerly a successful writer and producer of many successful TV shows that we know of, and he did that for a period of 8 years in Hollywood and also for a major film, and he was also an Emmy nominee. How about that? Boy, don't I have some great people on my show. I know that I do. Welcome, Terry.
Well, thank you, Silva. What a great introduction. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing fabulous, Just always as usual, I'm excited when I have the varied and awesome people that I have on the show to talk to about the things that you're doing and about your life. And this is really going to be interesting. I've known a couple people who've had some brain surgeries, and it's just phenomenal what can happen, what you can come through. And so I'm really excited to share your story with everyone. You've done quite a bit in life, but let's kind of take them back to where altering experience occurred in your life. You live life very fully now. Got a lot going on. You got a lot that you're sharing, but it didn't start off quite like that. So tell us what happened that catapulted you to where you are now. Tell us about the injury that you incurred.
Well, actually, it was summer training. When I was in college, I was in ROTC to be commissioned as an officer upon graduation. And in the summer, I went off for summer training. And in that summer training, a truck was driving 65 miles an hour too fast in Quantico, Virginia, and flipped and rolled. A 3-ton truck at 65 miles an hour, killing a Marine, injuring others, and making my skull crushed in my brain and creating massive critical head trauma where I flatlined twice during brain surgery. That's where it started.
Before you tell us that part of the story, let's stay with that moment when the accident happened. And obviously, there may not be much that you remember, if anything. I'm going to assume that at that time you were just completely out. Is that correct?
I don't remember I don't remember a month, like 6 months prior to that accident happening.
Okay. Okay, that's what I was assuming, that you
vacuumed away.
That you don't remember anything. So what was the first thing that you do remember after the accident?
Opening my eyes, finding all of these people ostensibly happy to see me, and I didn't understand because they were complete
no kidding.
strangers. And I went, why these people were so happy to see me? And I thought, well, hello, it's nice to see you guys too. To learn that actually that was my family, and later, it was much later when I got to know everyone again. Initially, my first memory is waking up wondering who all these happy people are standing around me. Where am I? What is this?
So you're in the hospital and you open your eyes and you see all this joy around you because everybody's excited that you're alive and that you have come back to life. And the bad news is you didn't know who any of them were at that moment.
Exactly. And what I do know is based on the stories I've been told from the people who were there. My mother, who died 15 years ago, but she told me the story so many times, and I've written it in my journal that I'm able to hold on to what they've described. So it all comes from eyewitness occasion.
So these are things that were told to you as
right.
you were making your comeback. So that had to be quite a journey in itself. And I know you talk about some of the mental exercises that they started you off with to try to kickstart your memory. Tell us about that.
Well, actually, it was an occupational therapy. In fact, I still have the little book. It was maybe an inch thick pamphlet with a hard cover. It was green, and the occupational therapist wrote my assignment. She said, I don't have it in front of me right now, but it more or less said to write what I'm eating for breakfast, what I'm doing throughout the day, what's happening in the news. My assignment was to record my daily activities so that by the end of the day I would be able to read the list and see what clicked and what didn't. And that exercise expanded. I began to write more and more of what I was doing, and more of what I was doing until I was writing extensively, just writing every nuance, every thought, every philosophy, and until it turned into fantasy, even stories.
Well, I know you've written several books, but we'll get to that as well. So how long were you actually in the hospital?
In and out for 3 years initially, and then up until now, I still see a doctor for the residuals of such a critical brain injury. But initially,
sure,
3 years. It was 3 years before I was able to return to college and complete my degree.
And how long did it take you before you started recognizing your friends and family?
That took a while. I remember my mother telling me how that when I first opened my eyes from the coma, that I didn't understand or comprehend how we were related, because we all looked so differently. Everyone looked so differently, and I thought another woman was my mother, and my mother told me how it hurt her heart that another woman was my mother, because of the people in the room, and I didn't know any of them. I identified with one of them that way, and that stands out. That memory stands out from her telling me the story. I'm sorry, what was your question more specifically? Yeah. I'm sure I digressed from that.
Well, I was asking how long did it take before you recognized your friends and family, and I almost made a really bad joke and said maybe some of them you wanted to forget.
Well, no, it wasn't my mother. No, but eventually,
not your mom, of course.
She came back. But, you know, it took months. It took months, literally. Even because eventually I did something with doctors, and everyone said I was being stubborn and not being a good patient by doing it, which is returning to school too soon. I wanted to get back on track, go back. It didn't seem to me severe, so I wanted to go back to school. Only when I got there, I didn't recognize my best buddy. I remembered him, and he would walk me around in the camp, and all these people running up to me and said, "What are you doing here? What are you doing? We heard on the news, da da da." It made national news. It was on world news. At that major accident at Quantico, Virginia. It's a military accident back in 1984. It was a major news piece. So my friend, apparently my friends now rushed up to me. What I'm doing back? I'm doing back so soon, and I didn't have a clue who any of them were. So it was that soon after the accident that long after the accident where people were lost.
Well, you know what's so interesting about what you just said, Terry, is that you remembered that you were studying for your degree. You wanted to go back to school and get that done, but you weren't able to recognize people around you. But you knew what journey you were on at that time. When you look back now, how do you analyze that?
Well, my mother is amazing because she said that one of the first words when I opened my eyes after, before I even knew who they were, was my determination to get back to Hampton University. I needed to get back to school. I knew that I needed to get to school, and I had to go to training this summer before I went back. So I needed to hurry up and get to training so I could get back to Hampton. That was my focus before I even knew who they were. So yeah, it was something deep inside that mandated that.
Yeah, obviously, because you're going on and you're going strong. A couple other questions I want to ask before we move on to some of your current projects and theories. You had to have had some pretty severe. You said you used the word crushed a few minutes ago in describing what happened to your skull and your brain.
Yes.
How has that repair gone?
Well, it didn't quite hit me with the severity of what everybody was describing to me until I saw an X-ray that baffled me. I saw an X-ray of my skull, and it was like lightning bolt. It was like lightning bolts, massive lightning bolts everywhere, all over the skull. And I said, "That's not possible. Human wouldn't. That's not." But it was mine. That's when it hit me that my injury had to be severe for that kind of damage to have occurred, and I'm still alive. And I became just amazed by breathing. Breathing became such an excitement to me when I realized, when it hit me hard, when I saw it in the X-ray of what my skull looked like, and the brain MRI of the missing piece surgically removed when they went in to stop the hemorrhage inside. Mm-hmm. So it left me bewitched with this thing called life. I get excited.
And I want to talk. Yeah.
So you lose.
No doubt. But listen, you talk about being told that you flatlined twice. That's real. But you talk about experience is during that time that I'd like for us to hear about. You remember some things during flatlining, apparently.
Actually, it's what I don't remember that makes me more excited about life and being here. I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything. I didn't see a light. I don't remember light. Who knows? I may have seen light, gone through a tunnel, gone through a dimension, and danced. I just don't remember anything. I just remember waking up.
Terry,
to color and life and being amazed.
Maybe I read that incorrectly, Terry. Let me rephrase the question. Maybe what I misinterpreted by what I read was that did give you enlightenment. Maybe I think I've phrased that question incorrectly in asking.
No, you did. No, you phrased it just right. It's just my answers. You got to understand what I'm saying, because I didn't see anything, I woke up with an amazement of what we do see, life, the color, the vivid blue sky and the clouds and life, the breeze and the moves the trees and the touch, the butterfly, the whole experience of being alive on this planet is magical compared to what happened when I was out, when I was gone. I was gone. I'm not saying that there's nothing out there when you die. I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe I did have experiences. I don't remember. But I do remember the fascination with life, of the exuberance of breathing and living in a tangible reality, a physical manifestation of our dreams, the ability to touch. Each breath is magical, and our ability to have experience and communication and interaction with animals and Mother Nature and the cosmos and the endless universe is so amazing that it propels me. It gives me joy that I want to share, to remind people who are alive that they first are alive. They're not just here to work, to pay bills, and live and not realize where they are. And that's heaven. Our earth is floating in heaven. A lot of talk about going to heaven after you die, but I died, don't remember anything. But while I'm here, I see that we are in heaven. We're already in heaven. I mean, our planet is Earth, and it, like other planets, are all floating in heaven in a galaxy. And there are billions of other galaxies, and there are billions of others, and it goes on and on and on and on. So we exist, and we're alive, and that's the beauty and the gift of dying. I get to share that excitement with others who are now alive, who are still alive.
Well, the thing about it, and I'm certainly excited for you. I think it's incredible what you have come through, what you experienced, and what you feel you've been given to share. Most people are not going to quite understand that because they won't have had the experience that you have. We're most of us are here in life, and we have not been dead yet, like you. That actually happened to you, and most of us, when we get dead, we're not going to get back alive. So I can appreciate what you're saying, and I know that that's going to have a tremendous aspect. Just even talking to you today is a miracle that you have come through. What I think is exciting with our conversation today, and just hearing what your story is, I several things come to my mind. First of all, the incredible recovery that you have experienced. I'm sure it defied all kinds of odds of medicine, of what practices they knew and understood, that you have come back as fully as you have. I think there's another message in the fact that in your heart I hear so strongly how much you embrace new life, how much you appreciate it, how you may not even remember months or maybe in years of your life, but your here and now has become very precious and very full, and you are definitely a bright and shining light, light for others to see as a result. No doubt about that. So I want to make sure people don't get so absorbed in one part or another that they miss the great big picture of this tremendous light that you're bringing to life for people now. You've got some books written that you can tell us about. We have about 10 minutes. No, we don't. We have about 7 minutes because I'll have to start closing in about 7 minutes. But let's tell people about your current projects. You've got some books that you've written.
Well, I've written or published 3. I've written quite a few, but 3 have been published. The third, I think, is what I'll talk about, because it is the only nonfiction. The first two are fictional books, and a lot of those. Jason's Final Coming. My website, terrysmithbooks.com, shows all of my books, all three of them. But the last one, Surviving Head Trauma, is about overcoming the obstacles. I have 33 years post TBI experience, traumatic brain injury, and in that book, I share with families, newbies, if you will, what to expect, how I dealt with it, how my family dealt with it. At least it's a shared experience, so that it's not such a foreign land where you open your eyes after a TBI, because it happens in the blink of an eye to anyone, anywhere, anytime. That's the TBI motto from the American Association of Traumatic Brain Injury. So it's reality that it could happen literally any time. So that book, Surviving Head Trauma, is,
and so that also birthed your radio show of the same name.
Well, actually, yeah. Actually, I was doing an interview about the release of that book, I think, and something else. I was doing interviews, and I was requested to do a show, because during the show there was a panel of authors, and the host had to, for some reason, leave, and we were just left there kind of hanging. So I started just chatting with the other guests and asking them questions. So the host eventually, a year or so later, called and asked if I would come on board, and I did. And I'm so happy, because I've learned so much more than I did before I started about brain injury and what people have been through, and I realize even more since my accident how grateful I am that I came out functional as well as I am. I mean, I hear people who are so much worse. I mean, for those people who survive, because if you survive, the gamut of where you land is anywhere from vegetative state to highly functional.
Yes, you truly are a manifestation of a miracle. I want to ask you just a philosophical question before I get ready to wrap, because I think you probably have some pretty neat things to share. I'm supposing you do, but you wrote a play called The Funny Thing About Death, and I wanted to ask you, before we hang up, what are some of the funny things you've learned about life?
It's the people take it for granted. That's what just screams at me immediately. How I see people fighting, and then I laugh at human beings on this planet. It makes me angry almost when I really think about it. Initially I laugh, but then I get angry, because here we are floating in heaven. We're in heaven. We're already in heaven. We have everything we need as human beings. All we have to do is stop fighting in our playground. And our countries are fighting each other. Our races are fighting each other. And religion is fighting each other. Everybody's fighting each other over what? Fighting for what? We have one planet, heaven. We're in heaven. All we have to do is treat it that way, and it manifests and becomes that. So the one thing is that it angers me that people don't see that and understand that we're alive on this planet, the beautiful planet, floating, traveling so fast through this universe, in this galaxy, that all we have to do is put our arms and use them differently, not aimed at each other, but in discovery of research and development. The same military that we had to fight, the nuclear arms, all that could be converted so easily to something positive and constructive for our discovery and learning about where we are in life and what life means. But instead we fight like little children in a playground who were unsupervised. And that kind of gets me started. I can go on and on, but read my books. You'll see my for solution and finding a way within the next few generations or 1,000, who knows? It's hard to tell with human beings. But the first step I do know is to recognize life as sacred, and life is the holy thing. Not one part of a land is more holy than another. Life is life. This planet is holy. Not to get specific about regions of where and all that in the Middle East or anywhere else, but all land is holy. Fighting over which part is holy and belongs to whom is like fighting over which tastes better, chocolate or vanilla ice cream. It's childish, and man needs to grow up. And I fight and advocate man to recognize life as holy.
Well, you keep up the good work, Terry, and keep, sending out that message. I think that even though what you said may be something of a cliche that we've heard over and over, I think coming from you today, it does have a pretty powerful tone to say don't take life for granted. I think that was an excellent thing to share as a wrap for today's conversation, because you certainly have not. And you've gone on to do something very incredible out of your almost not being here. You've turned that story around completely, and I just congratulate you on the ambition, that innate thing that was going on in you, the God in you that brought you to this point. And I want to thank you for taking the time out to share what you have. All of the intimate details and memories and things that were shared with you that you have told us today. And keep doing what you're doing, because it's truly very, very inspiring. I appreciate your time today.
Oh, thank you so much, Silver. I've been following you for such a long time. I really appreciate what you're doing. Thank you as well.
Oh, and I thank you. Let your platforms know about the show. Let them hear what you've said today, and I'll be keeping up with you as well. So I appreciate the connection, and you stay blessed, sir.
All right. Thank you. You too. Take care.
Thanks. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in today. As I said at the top of the show, thank you, thank you, thank you. And you know what? I'd enjoy it if you would let your social media platforms know about Boxology. This was a very interesting episode, and I know, as I said to Terry, we sometimes will just not take and hold of life as we should, by the horns, embracing it, loving it, doing all that we can do with it, and being all that we can be in it. And I think his story, along with many, many others, as I mentioned before, we see a lot of faces, but we don't always know the backstory. But there's stuff going on that has brought us all to various points of life and living it to our best. And so tell people about what's going on here, and let them know that what they will hear is always something very enlightening and exciting, empowering, educational, and sometimes all of the above at the same time. In the meantime, I'm going to look forward to the next show, which will probably be sometime during the week. I'm working on something for Wednesday. If not, I'm probably going to skip a week, because that's going to be next weekend, my birthday weekend. But I will be coming back with some really good stuff, and definitely with Master Your Mindset with Cassandra McShepard, and you'll definitely want to tune in for that. So until the next time, and in the meantime, be good, people, be blessed, and be awesome.